Thank you for joining us back here at Just Conspiracy, where we just wish to conspire to bring heaven down to earth. Right now, we're conspiring to check into Fritz Mercer's robbery on Joni and her family. Last time we had an episode, we saw Fritz Mercer tell you you don't have the right to a trial by jury even when somebody steals property from you. You don't have the right to trial by jury even when somebody commits trust fraud against you. And you basically just got to shut up, sit down, and take whatever scraps somebody's going to throw you from the table. And then, oh yeah, he kicked somebody who was an interested party in the trust out of the court.
Whoa, quiet. Just keep your mouth shut. Quiet. Just keep your mouth shut. Hello. There is no trial by jury in this matter. You keep saying that, it's not allowed, period, except not enough.
But when you steal property.
No.
Property was stolen.
No. Sit down. Or leave the courtroom, one or the other.
I'll be right back.
No, just leave the courtroom.
Stay out of the courtroom, sir.
Out.
Now leave.
Out.
But besides all that, we learned Joni had interest in the trust, and she filed a document saying that she had interest in the trust, so she absolutely had a right to be before the court. Now, all those threats, for the most part, have calmed down. Let's see what happens after that, because I got the rest of the recording right here.
Did you file this morning?
He said, did you file that this morning?
He heard me, he said yes.
I can't see very well, sir.
I'm not very handsome, don't worry about it. Look here. Where did you get these pleadings? Where did you get this? Where did it come from?
You know where I got it from? I basically looked at what you did and then changed equitable distribution into trust fraud. It's basically what he did.
Would that matter, sir? I'm pleading. I'm pleading on my behalf.
Came from my heart.
Because it's bizarre. It has no relevance to the legal system that I deal with.
Well, I'm sorry, sir. It's in my heart.
You want to know why it doesn't have relevance to the legal system he deals with? Because the legal system he deals with is fraudulent and doesn't have any law in it. It's the legal system. It's not the system of law. It's not the justice system. It's the legal system. And he says, accusing people of trust fraud, that just never happens in the legal system.
It's in my heart. I'm filing it. I'm filing it. I want it to be into the court records.
It's in my heart. My law is in my heart. I'm just trying to explain it to you the easiest way I possibly can. That woman over there committed trust fraud, and we're going to prove it to you. Actual fraud, and we're going to prove it to you. Criminal fraud, and we're going to prove it to you.
Well, I'm going to give you an opportunity for me to go through this precisely. Mr. Bradley, can you be back here on Wednesday?
Yes, sir.
What
Wednesday, 2 o'clock.
I'm going to go through the file and go through your pleadings. I want to give them a fair shot, although they're bizarre. And we'll reconvene at 2 o'clock on Wednesday.
Are you saying to come back here?
I am.
At what time?
2 o'clock.
I'd like to read a declaration first off that wanted to put on the court record for today, sir.
No, you're not an attorney. I've told you that before.
Let me tell you something. An attorney can't put a declaration on the record of a court. The whole reason Fritz Mercer does not wish for her to put a declaration on the record of the court is because when you put your verified voice on the record of a court of law, You are placing a fact upon the record of the courts. These are the facts that the court's supposed to look at. The whole reason what he did was to stop Joni from putting facts upon the record of the court. But let's hear what declaration she said on Tuesday, the 9th.
She can read for me, sir.
You can
I
read
see
it.
very well.
Well, you can, you did this stuff. You certainly can read it
Sir,
yourself.
I was getting some help.
Yes.
Is that the same stuff here?
Some of it is, some of it is not. This is this is my dad's declaration that we want to read, because what happened is, let me just a moment.
Please hear it, sir.
And again, my apologies for being late, but they really messed up with the Xerox machine at the UPS. So
The Xerox machine was awful. It took us like half an hour to get the papers copied off, printed out. It was awful. They had to do it one by one. Like each page they had to, okay, how many copies? Four copies of this page. Next page. Four copies. Oh, it was awful. We were about half an hour late showing up.
this is Dad's, and I'll read it for him because he can't read. I was ex-wife JoJo, she calls herself JoJo, and other colluders stole everything I have, and they forced me to live with my children who are beneficiaries. And having the same benefit of the trust, Joni, me, will present our family interest before this very court.
Okay, here's Henry. He's having a declaration. He's saying, that woman stole everything from me, committed trust fraud. We've had a family meeting about it. We wish for Joni to present our interest. That simple. I can't read so well. I can't think so well. I'm 91 years old, about to be 92. For your sake, we would rather have Joni present it to you than me. I'm not going to do very good.
And on June 4th, on 2013, Action 13 CBD 867 is filed with this particular court for the purposes breach of fiduciary duty and possible constructive fraud, and now provable constructive fraud.
Okay, this is the declaration and motion. Okay, this is saying, hey, we're declaring that we're filing a new suit, and we're going to give you reasons as to why.
Now provable constructive fraud for all but Michael Probert, and this is under his declaration under penalty and perjury. We're always sworn to tell the truth.
We're a man, we're a woman. In that Bible, in the Bible that you ask people to swear on, there is an Abrahamic law. It says, let your yea mean yea, and your nay mean nay. We are always testifying. We are always witness for one another. My brother, my sister. That's just the law. It's that simple. We're always held liable for what we say, in case we accidentally lie.
On June 4th of 2013, by error of representation, document replaced trust property and assets for marital property. On June 4th of 2013, by error of representation, the document asked for equitable distribution, and that's the one that was filed by Mr. Massey all the way back on June 4th of 2013. Which should have been completely, totally about a trust, not equitable distribution. This is a contract my father had with Josephine. It's a contract, a
Is
private
Mr.
contract.
Massey one of the 6 attorneys you've had over the years?
Yes, sir, he's the first one we had. Unfortunately, Mr. Massey passed away. On June 4th of 2013, by good faith.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, he was one of the 6 attorneys. But see, the attorneys don't work for you so well when the robber gets away with all of your money. Okay, when somebody steals all of your money from you and all of your means to have any type of resources or finances, it's really, really difficult to get an attorney to work for you. Which is why Josephine has had attorneys for the past 9 years and having the courts help her rob Henry Moore and the family Moore with their aid and assistance because she has the money to pay for it. And she got that money from stealing it, from robbing from the Ramo family. Think about that. The way that the entire system is set up is to motivate and incentivize the criminals.
Yes,
Mr. Massey passed away?
Yes, he
Yes,
did.
sir.
Several years ago.
I have
Is that his dad?
obituary.
Yeah.
This is senior.
He couldn't represent Mr. Ringo very long, but Buddy had the case after that.
Okay.
Yeah, we did not hire the son at all. We had the senior, the older gentleman, Mr. Mazzaghi. On June 4th of 2013, by good faith, a representation document asked for order and injunction to stop the constructive fraud of the trust. On June 4th of 2013, by good faith of representation, we seek for JoJo, which is Josephine, and the colluders to make and produce detailed accounts of all trust business, which they did not.
Okay, so right off the beginning, it's like by bad faith or just misunderstanding, they didn't file a trust fraud action like we wanted them to. But by good faith, they did get a restraining order, a temporary restraining order, freezing all of the assets. That was a good representation. Also by a good representation, a representation was moving for them to make an accounting, for them to perform their fiduciary duties and making an accounting of everything that's in the trust, out of everything that the settler, Henry, the creator of the trust, put in there. Hey, account for that trust we have. And they never received that. Ever received that. With all these great attorneys, they couldn't tell them how much money their trust was worth.
On June 4th, by good faith of representation, we seek to fulfill with the trust again, to have those trusts restored. By good faith of representation, we seek what is just in law. June 4th, there was a temporary restraining order that was entered, but sadly, no other relief had been found, and the said order has not prevented the constructive fraud from continuing. On June 17th of 2013, Michael Probert, who was the protector of the trust, he did answer the complaint and motion to dismiss, which Mr. Massey did enter into this court. But ignorance of the law is no excuse. However, it does appear to stop Michael Probert from moving forward with the fraud. But on July 9th of 2013, the first evidence and heavy weight from proof of intent and deceit is there was an issue of letter of trespass from Henderson County Sheriff's Department, right here, to keep the trust property away from us, the beneficiaries, and to keep us away from the trust property.
Okay, here's what happened. The trustees thought that they could go down, and they got this idea from their attorney. We have the emails where the trustees get this idea from the attorney to commit trust fraud. The attorney who's now the high clerk, or was his co-conspirator in my opinion, but we won't know till we get a court of law and can figure out the facts. That's kind of what this is all about. Anyways, they told the trustees to go down and give a trespass notice to all of the beneficiaries, to everybody who owns the property, to Joni and all of her family members. You're going to be trespassing on your own property. It's called alienation of property. It is absolutely criminal to do in a trust, especially when the trust expressly forbids it. The attorney gave him the idea.
So we accuse JoJo, which is Josephine Ramo, and the colluders in collusion with malice, intent, deceit, forethought, and with a plan.
They did all of this with malice, intent, deceit, fraud. Let's hear this again. Oh.
So we accuse JoJo, which is Josephine Ramo, and the colluders in collusion with malice, intent, deceit, forethought, and with a plan. On August 12th, there was a motion in good faith by representation states. Trust property is still in the trust of 164th Street Enterprises. Dad created the trust. Attorneys in court may administrate the written agreement of this man and Josephine and trust but Mann and Josephine will never agree, and all trust breach fiduciary duty.
Is all of that included in this?
I don't believe so. I have this, I think I have a copy for you, and I certainly gave it to this
Well, you're
gentleman.
certainly allowed to file that. You can file it, but I'm not going to listen to all of that now. And I've told you before, you're not an attorney.
See, you're allowed to file it, but I'm not going to listen to it because when you start verifying this in a court of law, it becomes real. Before then, it's just written down on a piece of paper. It's just a complaint. It's just administrative. I can do whatever I want. But as soon as you start speaking this, a man or a woman, someone with rights, starts speaking this in a court of law, the judicial officer has a duty and an obligation to uphold the law. That's why he won't listen to it. He doesn't want you to listen to it either, which is why he's calling it nonsense. Are you going to buy that? Has common sense left? I don't know. I just know what I hear. Do I have all of it? Nope. You don't have me putting my voice on the record. And think about the stuff that Joni and the family are accusing Josephine of. Trust fraud, theft, malice, forethought. Those are criminal traits. We're accusing them of crimes in a courtroom. Crimes. And now we're about to prove and show you the documents.
You've gone through 6 attorneys, 3 of whom I know well, who are competent attorneys. I don't know what the problem is, but you're here trying to practice law.
I'm not, sir.
Well,
They released
Well,
themselves as
well,
attorney.
there must have been a good reason why.
Yes,
I've
because-
got a pretty good feeling what the reason
No,
was.
sir, it's because my dad wouldn't do equitable distribution when he has a
Yeah, you're
trust.
right there.
He has a contract between him and Josephine and the trustees. There's no equitable distribution.
Not for trust,
No. And so they kept trying to pull us into equitable distribution. I can tell you the only thing that could be equitable distribution is Josephine is not giving Dad half the amount of money for a car and some other items. Everything else is in trust property. That is a contract, private contract between the 2 of them and the trustees. And then they went to this courthouse, to the Register of Deeds, took out 2 properties, forged, and they colluded, and through fraud, they took the property out of the name of the trust and sold. They sold the property.
sold my property, yes.
I'm gonna look through the file again and through the materials that have been submitted.
Please do, sir.
We'll be back here at 2 o'clock tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow is,
Was it Tuesday or Wednesday?
yeah, at the
Wednesday.
So tomorrow, 2 o'clock. Okay, will we get to see you again? I hope. You'll be here?
I will be.
Okay, thank you. I'm really glad that you're here, sir. We have asked for another judge to come and to look at this. And we really appreciate you, an answer to our prayer, sir.
Yes, sir, yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Joni, when she's leaving, thank you, Fritz, for being here. It has been so lawless for years. Thank the heavens that you're just here. Even though you don't look like or seem like you're going to uphold law for me. Even though we all know now that he wasn't going to absolutely at all. But think about this for a minute. Josephine and Lena went into the Registry of Deeds, signed quitclaim deeds, stole the property from the trust, and then sold some of those properties. That is criminal. Whoever has possession of those properties are in possession of stolen goods. And we talked about this with y'all in 2018 after I talked about Baba and I getting abducted, snatched, kidnapped so they could steal his property. And for the people who think, oh, well, Joni should have just listened to the judge. Joni should have just did what the God wanted her to. Joni should have just been obeying and following the statutes. Think about this for a minute. Joni just verified and gave them proof of actual trust fraud, actual theft, actual criminal activity, asking for justice. So if you believe that she should get locked up for that, what you are basically saying is that it is worse for you to go into court and act like an attorney, not be an attorney, for you to go into court, have interest in a case, not be an attorney, than it is for you to commit trust fraud, steal everything from everybody in your family, take from your children, your husband. You believe that it is more criminal to walk into court with an interest in the case and not be an attorney than to rob everybody in your family, than to steal property and sell it for your own advantage. It's more criminal to walk into court for a case you have interest in and not be an attorney. The word attorn means to hand over goods or services from one lord to another. The suffix EY is the act of doing. Literally, an attorney is there to hand you over from the Lord Creator, Yahweh, God, Master of the universe, Creator of the universe, over to God, Lord, State of statues. That is literally the good or the service that they are handing over from one Lord to another. It's you. It's you. It is more criminal for you to go into court without putting other gods before your first God, before God Himself, before Sovereign, the one and only true Sovereign Himself. It's more criminal to walk into court with right and justice on your side and not be an attorney, not be handing people over from this sovereign to Lord State, than it is to commit trust fraud, criminal fraud, actual fraud against your husband and your family. I can't even believe this is a conversation. With that being said, next video is going to be about what actually happened with Baba after Joni got arrested on August the 10th. I hope people are going to stick around. We have a lot of videos because we got a really big story to tell. And the only way it's going to get out there is if you like, share, subscribe, pass it around, talk with people you know about it, get people interested. Because if y'all don't get interested, we're not going to have any rights anymore. They're already gone. We already don't have them. I got a plan for getting them back, but I can't do it without you. We are just conspiracy, and we just wish to conspire, bring heaven down to earth. One world, love, peace.
So we accuse JoJo, which is Josephine Ramo, and the colluders in collusion with malice, intent, deceit, forethought, and with a plan. He has a trust. He has a contract between him and Josephine and the trustees. There's no equitable distribution.
Not for trust her.
No. And so they kept trying to pull us into equitable distribution. I can tell you the only thing that could be equitable distribution is Josephine is not giving Dad half the amount of money for a car and some other items. Everything else is in trust property. That is a contract, private contract between the two of them and the trustees. And then they went to this courthouse, to the Register of Deeds, took out 2 properties, forged and they colluded, and through fraud, they took the property out of the name of the trust and sold. They sold the property.
Sold my property, yes.